Imagine winning a $59.6 million jackpot. You're set for life, right? Everything is good. Your dreams have come true. You can help all the people you want to help and still live an amazing life. Well, in today's story, we find out that that's not exactly true. If you don't understand investing well enough to vet the right people doing the right things with your money, you still stand to be a massive victim, even if you've got a huge pool of money to draw from. That's exactly what happened when Paul Rosenau won the lottery in 2008. Can you imagine? $60 million. What would it feel like to have that money hit your bank account? And that was the after-tax jackpot. So the actual jackpot was over $100 million. He actually took home basically $60 million. All those zeros when you pull up your phone and you look at your bank account statement, I literally can't even imagine. How many race cars and how many burritos would that buy me? That would just be unreal. Well, Paul and his wife Sue are kinder and more generous than I am because they didn't think about burritos and race cars and what they could do with $60 million. They set up a nonprofit foundation to benefit people with a neurodegenerative disease that their granddaughter had died from a few years before. They took almost exactly half of their after-tax winnings and put it directly into starting this nonprofit. It's helping sick kids. They have this amazing purpose behind what they're doing with this money. But here's where the first problem reared its ugly head. They didn't have the financial knowledge and literacy to be able to manage this money themselves, to set this foundation up properly. And honestly, if I had won $60 million after taxes, I probably would have hired someone to manage it too, because you've got better things to do with your time. But here's where they made a critical error. They invested with somebody they knew. Some local financial advisor and insurance agent who was around town. You know, people knew the guy. Oh, he's managed so-and-so's family. He must be a decent human being. Let's hire him. And what did this guy do almost immediately with the money that he was tasked to keep and to grow and to secure for the sake of this foundation to help sick kids? He bought $18.9 million worth of variable annuities, and in return earned an estimated $1.2 million in commissions. I'm getting fired up even talking about this. If you could feel my heartbeat right now, it's pounding because I'm so upset at this guy. Not only is this the wrong thing to do for these people in general, but when you've got something like a foundation that has such a good purpose behind it, and you take that opportunity to take advantage of people and sell them something that has the biggest possible returns for you personally, that isn't the best possible thing for them, that's absolutely criminal activity. And that's why the company that this guy worked for, Principal Securities, has been instructed to pay a $7.3 million compensatory damage to this foundation that the couple set up. Because as it turns out, it is criminal. The variable annuities that this financial planner guy chose for them has annual fees of up to 2% and commissions that could exceed 6%. This is absolutely ridiculous. Whenever I think about this and whenever I make a video, personally, my rule of thumb is anything over 0.3% is just too expensive for my blood. You are sapping away the lifeblood of my investments at that point, and this guy's getting a 2% annual fee plus commissions of upwards of 6%. Are you kidding me right now? This is highway robbery. Then a few years later, that same financial advisor had allocated almost 93% of the nonprofit's total assets into variable annuities. And then 6 years after that, the guy who won this lottery, who set up this foundation for kids, the guy who's responsible for this guy getting all of his fees, explicitly emailed the financial advisor and asked him, I want a record of any kind of fees, commissions, charges, transfer fees, anything that's basically going to take money away from us. And what did the financial advisor respond with? There is no fee on this product. Get out of here. In the meantime, then, the financial advisor had also been selling and repurchasing variable annuities, which means he got to renew commissions. When there's so much money involved and you've got these people who are not financially savvy, who are believing your lies, you're set up to take advantage of them. So he would cycle through variable annuities just to refresh his commissions, to buy himself whatever he wanted because he's able to just generate himself income like that. When it was all said and done and the dust had settled, this guy had bought the foundation more than $47 million in variable annuities, which generated an estimated $3.3 million in commissions. Not only that, but that same financial advisor guy led them astray about 10 years after they started this whole debacle with him. Whenever the wife, Sue, had gotten into some health issues, she had a life insurance policy. He advised them poorly on that and made them miss out on money as a result of that too. At this point, the company who had hired this guy still are denying any wrongdoing. And at this point, there are still allegations. So technically you could say this is up in the air. This isn't a for sure thing. But unfortunately, this financial advisor won't even be able to participate in the account hearings. He won't be able to talk on his own behalf or anybody else's because he died by suicide in 2020. In my opinion, regardless of how those court hearings turn out, if this is true, if this stuff actually happened and he misled these people as much as he did, this is a huge lesson for us when it comes to understanding financial literacy, understanding who you're working with, and what your money is actually being invested in. Big lesson number one that I take away from this, along with several other stories I've heard of similar things happening. Don't work with people you know. Or at least if the reason you're working with them is just because you know them, that's not a good enough reason. I had a bad experience with somebody that I knew who was a financial advisor, and before I understood finances to the degree that I do now, I just went with him. Hey, I know this guy. I think I trust him. Whatever he says kind of makes sense to me because he's selling me on this idea, so I'm just going to go with it. As it turns out, I was getting wrung out by fees too. And once I learned that, I was able to break away from him. But just because we know somebody or just because he's a family friend, whoever it is, it doesn't mean they're good at their job. We need to vet people based on their proficiency level, not their interpersonal connectedness to our life. I don't care if one of my best friends starts running a business. I'm not going to use them unless they're good at their job. The second part of this that ties into our financial literacy and understanding what we're investing in is the danger that something like an annuity poses. Now, for some people, maybe there's a chance that an annuity is worthwhile and it actually helps them. But the vast majority of us get sold this lie that an annuity is the perfect product for you if you want something that's got a stable return. Everyone is risk averse. I don't care who you are. If you could somehow get a massive return and no risk, you would take it. Everyone would. Why would you accept variability if you don't have to? And so something like an annuity, which is actually an insurance product, if that offers something like a very steady return, well, that sounds good to people, especially people who are not familiar with the fact that the stock market is just a variable thing. Things move up and down all the time. That's the way it works. But over the course of time, the stock market as a whole has gone up. Now, the past performance isn't necessarily a perfect indication of what's going to happen in the future, but it's all we really have to go on also. So for people like me personally, I have faith in the stock market continuing to go up at least at a reasonable rate. Will it be the same as it always was? Who knows? But that's where I'm parking my money. The fact that an annuity promises a secure return isn't the problem. The fees are the problem. The cryptic nature of the fees are a problem, and the fact that somebody like this financial advisor were so incentivized to sell a product like that, to deceive their customers about the fee structure, it's a testament to the conflict of interest that's happening there. If we're working with somebody, they've got to at least be a fiduciary and probably a flat fee fiduciary to where you pay them $100 or $1,000 or whatever it is. They do what they're going to do and then their work stops because they're not then incentivized to sell you a particular product based on what they're going to make off of it. In the end, when it comes to money, there is no free lunch. There's no way to get a perfectly secure return without there being some kind of trade-off. Whether that's a fee, whether that's illiquidity, whether that's just some other kind of unknown that's specific to that particular vehicle that you're putting your money in, there's always a balance here. There's a caveat. There's no way to get a perfect investment. I'll link this article for you in the description, and for me, it's one more reason for us to be extra careful when it comes to picking people that we're working with, especially when it comes to financial stuff. At least in the basic sense, we've got to understand what exactly are we investing our money in and what are the fees for that. If the person you're working with won't tell you those things clearly, openly, brashly even, forget about it. This particular story is a tragic example of this whole situation going wrong, but I'm hoping in sharing this story and making this video for you, it'll give you the ability to share the story with other people, share the article with people that you know, and overall increase the awareness of this kind of thing happening. Even in the best of circumstances, when you're finally set up to live the rest of your life the exact way you want, to start a foundation to help other families to suffer less than yours did, it can still go so sour. And most of us don't have such an amazing starting point like these people did. We don't have a Powerball winning jackpot to start off with, and so we've got even less money. We've got a few hard-earned dollars we've got to invest so carefully and take care of so carefully. We don't have the luxury of $60 million to be able to have any cushion in there. So if anything, we've got to be even more careful than these people do. If you're newer here, I'm Brendan, and I've made personal finance videos for you on the internet for the last 5 years. I want to keep doing it for another 5, 10, 15 years. And typically I make videos about personal finance and investing, especially highlighting products. Are these services and products able to help us on our goals, or are they not so well designed products and services and they're not going to help us with our financial goals? If you'd like to see more of those videos, then you can click the subscribe button, and especially if you really want to get notified, you've got to hit the notification bell too, because YouTube doesn't really notify you even if you're subscribed anymore, but there's no pressure to do that. I don't need you to have another set of notifications on your phone because you probably have enough already. I also like to end videos with a secret comment word just for anybody who makes it all the way to the end of the video just for funsies, and I've got something to reveal to you. Check this out. Yesterday I was swimming in our pool. I thought it'd be really fun to kick off the side and just swim underwater with my eyes closed for a while. Well, I kicked off the side of the pool, not the end of the pool, which means my face just careened with the other wall of the pool, and I got 3 big scrapes along my head. So my wife has doctored me up here, but I've still got some bleeding happening. I got pretty torn up by our pool. So the secret comment word for today is goggles, because you should probably use goggles instead of smashing your head into the side of a pool. Anyway, it's my embarrassing story for the day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.